Okay, so one lesson more, talk about particípios passados. So what we have here this time, we have this: comprar, comprado, comer, comido, partir, partido. So basically we have three examples more of three verbs. Comprar ends with AR, comer ends with ER, and partir ends with IR. And three examples more of verbs that's where you can move from the infinitive into the regular past participle. Sorry. Um, and then I have here a few examples more. So with, let's see a sentence with the past participle comido, and let's check a sentence with the past participle ido. That is the verb from the verb to go, as you know. So o Pedro tinha comido peixe. So once again, tinha comido. The translation is had eaten. Tinha comido, it's a structure that belongs to level B1, but in this case, we have it here just for you to see a few examples of sentences that, in terms of grammar, you don't know them well or you don't know them at all because this is level A2. And this sentence, it's something that we teach on level B1, but in the meantime, you can already get an idea how we use past participles, okay? Another example. A Maria tinha ido ao Algarve. So Maria had gone to the Algarve. So tinha ido, it's another sentence, another example, another compound tense that we teach on level B1, and in the meantime you can get an idea and you can get a few examples to get used to, or to get an idea how we use this structures, the past participles, okay? And now I'm going to tell you for the first time that in Portuguese we have regular past participles. You already know that. You have here three examples. We move from the infinitive comprar to the regular past participle comprado. We move from the verb comer, the infinitive comer, to the regular past participle comido. And we move from the infinitive partir to the regular past participle partido. But now I'm going to tell you that we have a list of verbs, a long list of verbs, I have to say, where we don't have regular past participles, okay? Otherwise, for the verb fazer, the regular past participle was supposed to be fazido, right? Following the same logic, from comer we have comido, so from fazer was supposed to be fazido. But fazido doesn't exist, okay? So we have a regular past participle that is, a regular past participle that is feito. So is that a way for us to know what, when we're dealing with irregular past participles, is that a way for us to know what's the irregular past participle for this verb or for the other verb, for another verb? No, there isn't, okay? So it's just like irregular verbs, they are all over the place, and irregular past participles, they are also all over the place. So you just go with the flow with us, okay? Is it interesting for you to go home and try to memorize this kind of words? I don't think so. I don't think it's a great strategy. I think it's interesting for you to understand what's happening, to get the big picture, to understand in which context why we use past participles. It's also interesting for you to read this 2 or 3 times, like fazer, it's feito, dizer, dito, pagar, pago, pôr, posto, ver, visto, vir, vindo, escrever, escrito. But then you just go with the flow. You have to be exposed. You have to start speaking. You have to read a lot. And then you'll get there, okay? And then things will start making sense for you. Just a few translations. So, feito, made, pago, paid, visto, seen, escrito, written, okay? Just a few translations, a few examples for you to connect these words with the past participles in English, okay? So, one slide more. So, what we have here this time. Now it's time to tell you that we have one thing more that is a bit interesting. I'm going to call it interesting. Is that the fact that we have a few verbs with some of the verbs in Portuguese, they only have one past participle, and that past participle is regular. Then we have another list of verbs that they don't have a regular past participle, they only have a regular past participle. The previous slide we saw a few examples. And now I'm going to tell you for the first time that we also have another list of verbs that where we have two past participles, one regular and one irregular, okay? So it says here, existem verbos que têm duas formas diferentes de particípio passado. So there are verbs that with two different past participles. And the example that we have here is with the verb prender. Prender means to arrest, okay, to arrest someone. And the regular past participle is prendido. So once again, we just have to delete the last two letters, er, and I'm adding this ido. So this is easy. But then the irregular past participle, it's preso. How can you know? How could you know that prender has two past participles? The answer is you couldn't, okay? So you don't. So you have to go online and check. You have to check a book. You have to ask your teacher because there's no way for you to know if a verb has just one regular past participle or just one irregular past participle or two past participles. You just don't know. So you just chill, you just go with the flow with that, okay? So now you're probably asking yourself, okay, so I have here the verb prender with two past participles. We have prendido and we have preso. So how do I know if I have to use prendido or preso? And what I'm going to tell you now, it's precisely what we will practice on the following slide, following lesson. That, by the way, it's the last lesson in terms of grammar. And I'm going to tell you that we use the regular past participle every time you're dealing with a sentence with the verb ter, okay? So if you're using saying something, and if you have the verb ter, and if after that you have to use a past participle, it's the regular past participle that you have to use. An example, o polícia tem prendido muitas pessoas. As you can see, o polícia tem, this is the verb ter, so we have to use the past participle, so it's the regular past participle. The translation is the police officer has been arresting many people. So tem prendido, it's another example of a structure, a tense, a compound tense that you will learn on level B1. Okay, so in the meantime, let's just translate. On the other hand, we have here, o homem foi preso, o homem foi preso pelo homem. It works, the sentence is a bit funny, but the translation is, the man was arrested by the man. So, was arrested, foi preso, as you can see, foi, we're using the verb ser in this case. So it says here that the irregular past participle is used with the verb ser, estar, and ficar. Basically, we use it every time we're dealing with a passive voice. Okay, that's what you have here. O homem foi preso pelo homem. I think the sentence was supposed to be the man, o homem foi preso pelo polícia, but I wrote pelo homem, so it doesn't matter. Because what matters for you here is to let you know that foi preso, we're using the irregular past participle, preso, this past participle, with the verb ser, and this follows this guideline here. And once again, this second example, it's an example of passive voice in Portuguese. Okay? I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I'll see you shortly.